there when everybody was dispersing. He grabbed that tree and he said his prayers and he pulled that darn thing right out. Now, did he want to marry the prince? No. He just wanted to see he can pull him out, and that's what he did. He pulled him out, he went dig. And there's another story, one more story about Makali'i, which is right on that little giant over here. Anybody know about that giant alongside the mountain over here on the right? In a figure of a giant, he's laying down. And basically what happened there was when they have the fish pond, the konihiki, the boat, the fishing boat would be right on the other side of this river mount, already set. Everything is already set. When the fish come in, they're heading out there. One guy goes up on this side or that side, depending on the time of the day, and he'll tell the people where the fish are at. Right? They'll either go that way or they'll go that way. And so they sent Makali'i up there. The whole community is waiting. I don't know how many of you guys go hukilau, but we do that. We've been doing that for the last 7 years, 7 or 8 years now with the community. Now with only 10 fish, the net is heavy. I mean it is, because you're pulling up the rubbish and everything. There's only get 10, 15 fish, you know. So when they go out there and you get 200, 300, 400 fish, you need the whole community. You need everybody. And so the whole community is waiting out there. They're waiting for Makali'i to tell them where the fish is going, that side or this side. They go out, they wait, nobody's up there. The chief says, hey, what happened to Makali'i? So go send someone up there. They send someone up there, and guess what he's doing? Guess what he's doing, gang? He's sleeping. He didn't fall asleep. He probably got party the night before and he didn't fall asleep. He couldn't wake up in the morning. He went up there, and I don't know if you've ever been up hiking up on the side of here, but every time I go hiking up there, when I get up there, I always fall asleep. Same thing like him. So anyway, he fell asleep, got up there and cut his line. Cut his line. There was no public defender, none of that stuff, because the whole community is waiting for you, right? Your job is important as the next guy's job, and your job was to make sure we're going to feed families. That's what we're going to do. We're going to feed families today. And so they went around, and when they catch fish back then, 300-400 fish at a time with the net. So you needed the whole community. Anyway, that's all I have to say for now. Mahalo, mahalo, mahalo for all you guys coming out. God bless you, folks.
About another hand for Uncle Ben. Long time KAPUALOHA, KA'imo'olelo for us about this beautiful place. But Kiki, I hope you guys was listening to those lessons, those ha'avina.
Come on, hurry up.
Yeah. Oh, Makala. Yeah. Remember, everybody's keiki here is your guys' keiki too, so help Malama, Maka'ala, all those guys too. Ke olu olu. Okay, up next, we have Jamaica, Osorio, and No'u. Yeah? Rivilla. They're gonna kumai ha'i olelo slam poetry style. Okay?
Aloha, everybody. Mahalo for the invitation to share some poetry today. I'm just gonna do 2 poems. The first poem is about, I'm from Maui, so the water issues on my island are very just heva. And I wrote this about the state thinking that you can actually own water that does not belong to them, that it belongs to us, and they don't steward the water right. So that's the first poem. And then the second poem, I'll talk about it later. Ladies and gentlemen, are we gathered here today to join in unholy matrimony, these fresh waters of Hawaii, to this state of Hawaii? Do you state take these waters from our lives to have and to own from this day forward? to privatize, distribute until poetry, informed protest, and sustainable practices do you part. And do you, fresh waters of Hawaii, take this state to be your deeply unfortunate husband, to permit his narrow mind and his green pockets, his illusions, as if he could contain you, as if he could hold your roaring body, as if he could I do you. And he hasn't even met your saltwater cousins yet. His people don't have a word for where freshwater and saltwater meet, eat, and genealogize. So on the night of your wedding, as you're remembering the cold, dark mountains you come from, your cousins, your saltwater cousins will be rising and rising to find you, and your deeply unfortunate husband will be taken out to sea. Woo! So this next poem was inspired by what was happening in the media after the most recent confrontation on the Mauna, when these journalists and the politicians were talking about the pohaku in really bad, negative ways, without any kind of nuanced understanding, without any kind of aloha. And I started writing these pohaku love poems. So I want to share a pohaku love poem with you today. What if my mouth was filled with rocks and your mouth was filled with science? Are they vast enough to call us sisters? Could they see us more for our collaborative kinship, much more blood than poison? We say pantheon because we know a rock is not a rock is not a rock. Modernity summons its gods without believing. Names unlock our destiny. So in choosing to call you sister, my rocks relate the in-between of data, prayer, scope, sky, future, past. Our sisterhood should never be used as a smokescreen for continued desecration. This is not essentialism. This is not store-bought aloha. Interpretations in the media depict our danger, black and threatening to public safety, black hysteria restricting access, blackness scattering the rhetoric of so-called progress. Damn protection, politicians want the slippery and settler slope of law. They genuflect to telescopes like black above is history and black below is backward. But making history does not exclude the past, does not fear blackness in the shape of boulders, in the shape of altars. Sacred cannot be bought, but it can be fed. And if we, satisfied with stones, kupa'a, we feed the sky. Mahalo nui.
Aloha mai kako. Can you guys give Noteworville another hand, please? I'm gonna do two poems. What happens to the ones forgotten? The ones who shape my heart from their rib cages. I want to taste the tears in their names, trace their souls onto my vocal cords so that I can feel related again, because I have forgotten my father's own grandparents' middle names. Forgotten what color thread God used to sew me together with, but there is a culture, a people, somewhere beneath my skin that I've been searching for since I left, but it's hard to feel sometimes because at Stanford, I was taught to be innovative. The city of Macintosh breeds thinkers of tomorrow, so I have forgotten how to remember, but our roots cannot remember themselves. Will not remember how to dance unless we are chanting for them. Will not sing unless we are listening, but our tongues, they feel too foreign in our own mouths. We don't dare speak out loud. So we can't even pronounce our own parents' names, so who cares remember mine if I don't teach them? I want to teach my future children how to spell family with my middle name, Heoli Mele Kalani, how to feel love with Kamaka Viva Ole, how to taste the culture in the Kumulipo. Please, do not forget me my father, Kamakaviva Ole, who could not forget his own, Le Aloha, do not forget what's left, because this is all we have, and you won't find your roots online. We have no dances or chants if we have no history, just rants. No roots, just tears. This is all I have of my family history that's real, and now it's yours. O vai vai ole ke kane, o kahino Lanakila wahine, noho pulawa, aha no ia, o Charles Moses, kamakwiwa ole he kane. O Charles Moses, kamakwiwa ole he kane, o Daisy, ke ali'i ai ava ava ka wahine, noho pulawa, aha no ia, o Eliza, le aloha, kamakwiwa ole he wahine. O Eliza, le aloha, kamakwiwa ole he wahine, o Emil Montero, o Zoro he kane, noho pulawa, aha no ia, o Elroy Thomas, e aloha, o Zoro he kane. O Elroy Thomas, e aloha, o Zoro he kane, o Clara Ku'ule Ke he wahine noho pulawa aha no ia o Jonathan Ke kamakaviva ole o Zoro he kane. O Jonathan Ke kamakaviva ole o Zoro he kane. O Mary Carol Dunn he wahine noho pulawa aha no ia o Jamaica he oli mali kalani o Zoro he wahine. Do not forget us. Mai poina. Aloha mai kako. Thank you so much for having us out here with you guys today. It is such an honor. I wanted to open with that poem to welcome my ancestors with me, to show you who's standing behind me or in front of me, depending on which way we're looking. And I want to mahalo you and all your kupuna for bringing you here today. I'm going to do something I don't normally do. I'm going to read a completely new poem that's not even finished, because I feel like I come to a lot of these things and I read the same poems, and you guys could probably tell me exactly what all the poems say. So, this is a new poem I'm working on. I've been really inspired by the ALOHAAINA, by the Kia'i Mauna, and all the work they've been doing on Hawaii Island, and all the work we've been doing throughout Hawaii to support them and to kupa'a ALOHAAINA. And a lot of the response I've seen, whether it be in social media or just walking down the street, is people either saying, you know, where are all these Hawaiians coming from? As if we haven't been here all along. Or some people saying, that's not Hawaiian, that's not aloha. And to me, that demonstrates a real misunderstanding of what aloha means. So what I did is, I wanted to look to all these mo'olelo my father has been telling me since I was a keiki, right? About resistance, and about how resistance is so much a part of what makes us Kanaka Maoli. And I wanted to spell it out for the people who just don't get it. So bear with me, this is not memorized, and I might stumble a bit, but this is a makana to you folks. And it is called Hawaii Pono'i Rising. It's 1872. David Kalakaua, not yet king, not yet crowned, anointed, and badged, pens a song at the request of Kamehameha V, Lota Kapuaiwa, Hawaii Pono'i. A new national anthem, a new symbol of strength through self-representation, a new promise to the imperial forces in Hawaii that Hawaiians of his generation, like those before, will stand and fight for their right to noho aupuni. Today, we called this resistance, then we called it pono. Hawaii pono'i nana I komoi kalani ali'i ke ali'i. So as Kalakaua writes, we sing the sacrifice of dozens of generations of Maka'ainana and Mo'i who fiercely offered their bodies for this legacy. We sing and remember we are sons and daughters of Po, the deepest and darkest depths of this world. We sing and remember Umiali Loa, Kiha Pi'ilani, Manono, Ke Kuo Kalani, Kanaka Maoli role models who practiced the core preachings of Hawaiian principles, strength, resiliency, and resistance, knowing no human power was so supreme that it could not or should not be overturned when unjust. Kalakaua writes and remembers an older Kamehameha, Ko'i Keuli, bellowing the words, Mauna Kea o Ka'aina I Kapono. Kalakaua holds this declaration in his iwi and pushes its promise through his melodies, the way we've been taught to hold them in our bloodlines and cradle them on our tongues to keep it sacred and safe from the poisoned fingertips of this fake state. Kalakaua remembers Lord George Paulette, and the way Western empires expand through arrogance, force, and flags. So he tattoos a promise into his lahui's vocal cords, a reminder of our duty to protect king and country. It is 1893. An overthrown kingdom and lahui in distress paint the backdrop of one of the most greatest and unsung acts of resistance of the 19th century. While Ellen Ko'ohivo Kalani Wright Prendergast pens a melodic reminder of our genealogy of protest, feeds her generation with rocks of resistance, Kalua I Ko'olau and his wife and son run through the brush at Kalalau on Kauai. Their steps are heavy and precise, because they know the weight of the generation's oppression shrouding their shoulders. They feel the power from which they resist. When they show that they will not be wrongfully imprisoned by his sickness, they scream us a mo'olelo worth remembering when Pi'ilani and Koloi Ko'olau bury their son. Only iwi, salt, and prayer return to the soil with him. There is no regret of resistance they practiced and perpetuated when Pi'ilani buries him. It would be her tears that aids his body and rifle to return to dust, his generation's ihe, strapped across his bare chest like an answer. An image pointing back to Kalakaua's call to protect this legacy, this aina, this lahui. They know their kuleana to maintain the sovereignty over body. So they run and sing. Makualani e kameha meha e na kawa e pale me ka ihe. It's January 7th, 1895. Over 300 men led by Robert Wilcox take cover in the Pohaku above Leahi. With rifles armed with gunpowder and patriotism, untrained soldiers give their lives for Hawaii. These are not the core of the Kipu'u reign of Wainea. They are not sharpshooters. They are not the swift shards that pierce through skin. They are only the last physical defense in a history of people who know in their na'o that laying down to the opposition is not an option. So when these men and women, though they are not the identical image of their ancestors, they are the kaua who answer Kalakaua's call. So too are the men and women of the Patriotic League in 1897, when America's physical power seemed to be a muscle that could not be matched. Kanaka Maoli took to the greatest weapon of their new time, paper. Our kupuna's name scratched into a new kind of stone left a permanence in pen to show our perspective and story. The period that follows was a time of great mourning. Our seeds dove deep for cover, taking layer after layer of blackened soil. We sought the nutrients in a darkness that was kept from us in the light. We submerged for protection. From the sickness brought by generations before on white ships, the beginning of the 20th century is a picture of a wounded but not defeated people, cultivating and preparing for their time to rise. So it's January 3rd, 1976. 9 young Kanaka Maoli, galvanized by the efforts of Kanaka to resist evictions, have just landed on the island of Ko'olave. They come to heal the scars of an island torn by the bombs of someone else's war and security. Not unlike Kalui Ko'olau and his ohana, they live off the land in support of their communities as they elude the U.S. Navy. They carry only their names and the stories passed down by kupuna. Between March 6th and 7th of the next year, 2 members of the Protect Ko'olave ohana, George Helm and Kimo Mitchell, were lost at sea. Their sacrifice reminds us what we must be willing to offer back to the lahui. That sometimes we do not return on our own 2 feet. Sometimes we are only a song. The promise, the faint memory of a sweet melody, the mo'olelo for the next generation to carry. We remain steadfast knowing that sometimes that is enough to defeat the U.S. military. Today, those of us who remain have the kuleana to insist their lessons lace the backbone of our practice so that they shall not be forgotten. This is our anthem of resistance, written from the inspiration of past promises, so that when approximately 50 ALOHAAINA of my generation ascend to our sacred Mauna Kea on March 29, 2015, many of them staying through the night, we know in our na'o, our iwi, and our voices that this journey, this battle, is a Hawaiian tradition. Resistance is as fundamental to our story as hula and oli. Yes, we will protect what is sacred to us with our bodies, inoa, pohaku, and song. This is the mo'olelo of Hawaii. The world has been trying to unwrite a story of fierce resistance and ALOHAAINA, of new roots sprouting from old seeds. What we know is that our kupuna would have joined us. That if Robert Wilcox, George Helm, Kalua Ko'olau, and the hundreds of thousands who united in their sacrifice were still with us, that they too would be standing with our brothers and sisters between the sacred Mauna and the desecration until the very last ALOHAAINA. We stand on their shoulders today. There are rocks in our mouths when we insist on a better future. So come, sing with us, knowing that when you do, you are joined by hundreds of generations of people who sang these stories before you. Know in your na'o that this is the way we rise. Mahalo. Have a great afternoon.
How about another big hand for our lovely ladies? Woo! Kakalakaili. I was standing behind, I saw the kupunas behind her, the ihes. Kupono. The leo is a very powerful weapon. Our mana, our aloha, it's another powerful weapon. It's also a form of protection and mana. Mahalo nui to Jamaica, and no, one more big hand for those two sharing their beautiful love. And when she was doing Hawaii Pona'i, I wanted for do them too. I think we should all do them. How about e ku ilu na kako? We have a few high here and there. Stand where you are. Kalama if you're still eating. You can hold your plate if you got it. Because it is the ai kamahao that you're holding. We're going to do all 3 verses of our Mele Hawaii Pona'i, and then we'll jump to our next wonderful speakers. Hikino? E kuha ahe o kako. Hawaii Pona'i nanai omoi alani ali ke ali apualani Hawaii. Mahalo. Pako una au ke ike wau I ka velo ana ko kako hai Hawaii. Hey. Up next we have 2 speakers that will be coming up. I don't know if they're coming one at a time or 2 at a time. But they'll be coming up straight from the Moku Keave, from Mauna Kea. They probably came right off of that Mauna before they came over here. I wouldn't be surprised. Our first speaker I'm gonna call up was actually my keki's kumu at Punana Leo Kauai Ha'o. This kumu was so kupa'a for ALOHAAINA. You could see it. It was running through his veins, and it was running through the veins of all of our keiki. And they stood proud with their high Hawaii, celebrating our Hawaiian holidays like La Hoi Hoi Ea and La Ku'oko'a, flying their high Hawaii with pride, with aloha. And a lot of that is a reflection of their kumu. And I'm going to call up this kumu, a good hoa of ours, a hoa ALOHAAINA, and one of the many who stand behind our Mauna. I'm going to call up Kahookahi Kanuha. Eo Kanaka.
Aloha mai kākou. Alright. Mahalo nui ke hui ano kākou I nei ke aupua o Kahana. Ma ke lohuia o Huilua. Mahalo na kanaka pau hiki mai nei na kanaka pau I pau ma Kahana. Alulike, ALOHAAINA. Ho'ola hou I ke wahi ke aina momona. Mai kauka ke kai. Niki me kakako. Maka ho'ola ana, maka malama ana. I ke ALOHAAINA oia I o mawaino o kākua pau. Mai nā wahi a pau o kai, hiki I ka nuu ki eki eloa ko kākou pai aina aloha o ka Mauna Kea. No leila mahalo nui ke hui ano kākou. O wau, ka ho'okahi kanuha from Holualoa Kona. Grew up Hawaii Island and then moved here in 7th grade. Attended Kamehameha Schools, KAPUALOHA as a boarder. Graduated 2007 and then went to UH Manoa, got my bachelor's in Hawaiian language in March or May of 2013. So on my time here on Oahu, spent 13 years and as Laiana had mentioned, was a kumu at Punana Leo, still teaching at Punana Leo now in Kona, back to the school that I went to and the school that I graduated from. And so, met a lot of good people in my time over here on Oahu. As well as Hawaii Island, a lot of mentors, a lot of people who instilled, I guess, these feelings, this iini, and whatever ike I have from many different people. So I'm very appreciative, and many of those people are here today. So you guys know who you are. Mahalo nui a oko a pau. I'm just gonna talk a little bit about, I guess, for me personally, why the TMT on Mauna Kea has become such a big issue. I think obviously it's a big issue to all of us. That's why we're here. That's why we continue to come together. That's why we're re-solidifying, reorganizing, re-energizing our lahui, community by community, mokupuni by mokupuni. But I think a lot of us also have not the same reason. Yeah, same importance maybe, but not the same reason. A lot of similarities, but also differences. And I think that's what makes this movement so strong, is that we're not all going in for the same reason, ALOHAAINA, protecting our sacred places, but I guess our reason for the reason is a little bit opo'a from each other. And so, for some, there's a stronger stance on the political side, for some it's a spiritual side, there's the religious, there's the environmental, there's a nationalistic, and it's all maikai, and it's all come together. And so I think, again, that's kind of what's made it strong, is that we found a way to reach out and engage many people of different interests, different backgrounds, some instances different agendas, and so Mauna Kea and this whole issue has been a venue, a vehicle for us to express our thoughts as a people, for us to remember who we are as a people, where we come from, so that we know where we stay and where we need to go. So for me, there's a lot of different reasons, especially now. It's not the same as when we first started, and I think that was about 4 months ago now. But when we think about it, you look at pictures from that first week, it feels like years ago. I mean, like, yeah, more years than I've been alive. It feels like a long time ago. So there's a lot of changes. And that's my kai. That's my kai. There's been a lot of changes in 4 months, not just for those on the mountain, but I think in our communities, in our consciousness. And so, for me, again, my background is in Olelo, Hawaii, really from small kid time, Punana Leo, all the way through high school, and then again through college and in my job now. And so with that, I guess you kind of develop a different perspective than someone who grows up primarily speaking English. Obviously, I can speak English, okay, but the majority of my life, especially in the past 8 years or so, it is Olelo Hawaii. So there's a different perspective, and in that, in the language, in our stories, in our mele, there's nothing that tells us that we should be desecrating Aina. All of our mele, all of our mo'olelo, all of our ike kupuna tells us to malama, to aloha. It is basically without ALOHAAINA, without a love for our land and a desire to protect it, we basically will no longer exist as a people, the way I look at it. And so for me, when we go up there, it's about, here we are, Kanaka, in our aina that our kupuna found, not by accident but on purpose, in a time where most of the world thought the world was flat and or couldn't swim. Our kupuna are sailing across the largest and greatest ocean in the world on canoes made out of wood and pohaku, or are using tools, pohaku and la'au. And so we found this place on purpose and we settled it, and we developed an amazing civilization. And that's not just because our kupuna say it and because the mo'olelo say it, but because even the haole who came here say it themselves. Captain Cook came 1778 and couldn't believe how clean and how productive our lands were and our people were. So that kind of tells you a little bit about where they're coming from and the things that they're used to. But they were astounded by what they saw here. And so a lot of those ways, you know, the way that this place used to be, the way that Hawaii used to be, the lifestyle, the values, a lot of it is not gone, but it's been forgotten. It's been forgotten because of the system that we live in. And when I talk about that, I think I mean going back to around the time of the overthrow in 1896, when they banned Hawaiian language in schools, and they literally attacked, you know, keiki, and tried to manipulate and change our way of thinking and our identity so that we would no longer exist as a people. And so there's institutionalized denationalization in Hawaii from that point on. And over time, they felt that they would wipe us out. And I think it's safe to say that in some cases, they got kind of close. But 1834 to 1948, we have over 100 Hawaiian language newspapers. And our kupuna palapala, all of these mo'olelo and ike. Now we live in a day and age where we have things like social media and vehevehe.org and ulukau.org, and we're able to access all of this information. So it was preserved and we have access to it, and so we're remembering. And with knowledge of those things, with the mo'olelo and the ike of our kupuna basically at our fingertips at any point in time, we have no reason to believe that we shouldn't be doing what we're doing. Yeah, we have no reason to believe that we should not be on Mauna Kea. And so, to me, it's about Kanaka in our homeland. Yeah, we've become a minority. We've become, within the system, we've become powerless, it seems like. And so, to me, I look at this as our existence as a people almost relies on our ability to stop the desecration of Mauna Kea. I look at the building of TMT on Mauna Kea as further denationalization. It's a continuation of the banning of our language. The banning of our language was meant to make us forget who we are, and try to make us become something that we are not and that we cannot be. And so when I look at the desecration of Mauna Kea, I think it's on purpose, and I think it's a purposeful attempt to denationalize us further. Because how can we say we are who we are? How can we be who we say we are when we allow things that go against our values and our cultural understanding and our cultural foundation? So, do we have a right as a people in our own land, in our homeland, in a land that we found way before anybody else? Do we have a right to determine for ourselves what are our sacred places? Yeah? I think that's a valid question. Do we have that right? And when you look at it, the system will tell us, aole, we don't have that right. So we need to maybe recreate or take it back. And I think that's what this is, you know, do we have a right to determine what's sacred? And if we do, then do we have a right to protect what's sacred? Is our existence as a people, are we a real people? Do we have a real history? Is our language truly equal to that of English in the state of Hawaii? Is our stories real? Are our mele real? And again, everything that they do within the system and that they allow basically tells us that we are not a people. We do not have equal rights. We do not have an ability. We do not have the right. We do not have, the sovereign authority in a sense to determine for ourselves in our homeland what's pono and what's not pono, what's sacred and what's not sacred, what should be protected and how it should be protected. So we cannot wait, and I think we know that. Everybody here knows that. We cannot wait for anybody within that system to help us out. There is no savior from the state of Hawaii that's gonna step into office, whether it be governor, mayor, whatever law, whoever it is. They're limited by the system. Yeah, we can't necessarily hate the individual, we can hate the system. So the only way to create change is to go outside of the system and to be criminal in a sense, according to their definitions. And we have to cool. We have to rise. We have to defy. We need to, civil disobedience in a sense. But we've kind of called it something different on the mountain. We've called it civil assistance because we don't consider ourselves the ones to be disobedient. The ones who are being disobedient, first of all, is the state of Hawaii, as they're illegally occupying our country. So they're being disobedient. And even within their unlawful system, they're still failing to uphold their laws, their statutes that they've created. So they're being disobedient in every sense of the situation. We're actually the ones that are assisting in upholding the true laws of Hawaii, because we know that Mauna Kea is not ceded lands, because they were never ceded. And we know they were never ceded because we don't have there's no treaty of cession. We know that. And I'd give anybody whatever they want and do whatever you want me to do if you can show me one. But we know that's not the case, no more. So we know that the lands are not ceded. They're government lands of the Kingdom of Hawaii under the control of the Minister of the Interior since 1848 in the Mahele. And that government is not in place to protect those lands. So we as nationals, as subjects of this kingdom, of this lahui, of this country, we have a responsibility to protect those lands. Again, the state of Hawaii is not going to do it. No matter what the patch on the side of their shirt says. It says, "E malama pono ya Hawaii," all they want it to. And I've seen it. As they're carrying me away. And, "E malama pono ya Hawaii." So to all of our keiki olelo Hawaii over here, you definitely got jobs in the future. Because they have a horrible understanding of what those words mean. So it's been a long journey. It's been an awesome one, and truly believe that we will stop it. And because we're doing things as a community, we're doing things as a lahui, really not even as communities anymore. We're doing things as a lahui that perhaps we were not doing 7 months ago, 2 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. And we have the ability to communicate with each other in a way that was never possible even 10 years ago or 5 years ago. The whole social media thing has just blown up. So, I truly believe that we will stop it. That's the only reason we're doing it. We're not up there because it's necessarily fun. It's much easier to live at sea level than it is to live at 9,200 feet. It's much warmer. Sleeping in a house is much more comfortable than sleeping in a truck. So we're not doing it just for fun. We're not doing it for games. We're not doing it, to get on TV. We're doing it because we truly believe that we can stop it, and we know that it truly is our kuleana to stop it. It's not a choice. I truly believe there is no choice. And when we're talking about Olelo Hawaii and the usage of kuleana in a personal perspective, it's not ka'u kuleana. It's ko'u kuleana. Yeah, because this is something that I don't choose. This is something that I don't necessarily go look for, but it's something that our kupuna put upon us, and they bestowed upon us. And so, is it difficult? Aye. But I believe we are here in this time, in this place, at this time, for this reason. It's not accident that this is happening in our time. I think it's on purpose. Our kupuna have aligned everything to be this way, because we are the ones who are meant to stop it, and we are the ones who can stop it, and we are the ones who will stop it. So I want to just, finish off by just saying mahalo to everybody, because when we went up there the first night, it was like seven people, I think, yeah. I never even have socks or shoes or nothing. It was just it was a spur of the moment. We're going up to the Mauna, and within 30 minutes, I was freezing. Lucky the other guys had some extra socks, but this was never thought about. I don't think any of us really, from what I know, really thought about how long are we going to be there? How long is it going to take? It was just we're going to come on this day and we're going to stop. And that 1 day thing turned into a 3 day thing, turned into a 1 week thing, to a 1 month, and now we're going on 4 months. But the reason why we can't do it, or at least I know for myself, is because we have so much kako'o. And if we all lived on one island instead of 8 islands, TMT would be done already. They would be Paul. They wouldn't have a chance. They'd be packing up and they'd be finding another mountain somewhere else. So, but the ocean, you know, it separates us and connects us at the same time. But the support and the kako'o that we've received is absolutely tremendous. And I think there's a difference between what's happening now and what was happening back in with Kahookahi. You know, when we talked to those people, they mentioned how they were constantly scolded for doing the things that they did. Kupuna didn't necessarily believe that what they were doing was right. They was just hanaino. I said, lava, mali, let them go, let them go. And we live in a time now where you come down the mountain and you see auntie, you see uncle, you see tutu, and they cannot stop kissing you, they cannot stop hugging you, and they cannot stop telling you how proud they are. So again, it's a sign in the shift of our consciousness as a lahui. And I believe, you know, we're, what is it, like 5-6 generations out from the overthrow. It took about 3 generations to try to wipe us out. And they got close. But after 3 generations, we start to remember again. So I think we're truly maybe just 2 generations away from a complete revival, of a complete hulia, a kahuli of the situation that we're in. But I think Mauna Kea can truly be a catalyst to get us to where we need to be, where we need to go quicker. And I think that it's very obvious that it has done that. It's brought us together. It's raised our attention and our awareness to other issues, other situations. But we know that we gotta stop this because this is from the top. Everything from the top trickles down. And whatever goes down at the top is gonna affect what's happening down at Kai. So no matter how high up the mountain is, because people always ask, you know, oh, where are you guys on this issue? How come you guys not protesting this issue? How come you guys not protesting that? Where were you for this? And I'm not sure, you know, maybe they get like full-time hired activists or protesters or whatever, but again, we gotta pick our battles. We gotta be smart. We cannot run ourselves thin and fight everything, even though we know that we would like to, because there's a lot of heva. But the greatest heva I think is happening on the mountain. It's a multinational project. We got 5 countries: China, Japan, India, America, and Canada. And so what we can use it for, what we have used it for again is to stop it, is to malama it, but to also use it as an opportunity, as a platform where not just those countries are watching, but the whole world is watching. And let them know why is this an issue? And I believe it's an issue because we do not have the ability at this time, the authority to govern ourselves, to determine for ourselves what's pono, what's not pono in our aina, to determine for ourselves what's sacred and what's not sacred, what's sacred and what should be protected. We don't have that right. So we need to take it back. And it starts with this, Yeli ino ke ali ike kanaka. Yeah, Yeli ino ke ali ike kanaka. The chief is a chief because of the people. So we're not over here waiting for the chief because we know Heli ika aina he kawa ke kanaka. We have our ali'i. But we need to treat it as an ali'i. That's the only way it can be an ali'i. I can walk around and say ali'i ali'i all I like. But if I got nobody following me, mea ole. Yeah, so a chief is a chief because the people follow that person, because they make them a chief. And so in this time where we don't have our government operating and functioning, we know who our ali'i is. Ka'aina. And we are the kawa. And so we need to bring truth to that. We need to make those mana'o, bring that back to life, make it true again, so that our keiki grow up knowing what their kuleana is. We cannot allow this type of development to continue to be normalized in Hawaii, as it is being. Not just on Mauna Kea, but all over. I mean, you know, Oahu, you got Ho'opili, we got military all over the place. So these types of actions are really becoming normalized, and if we don't do anything about it, people are gonna grow up thinking that it's normal, and they're gonna find no reason to have to stand against it. So my last manao, in fact, someone here shared this with me a few months ago. But one day we'll all be kupuna. Yeah, I'll be a kupuna. This keiki in front of us will be kupuna, and they're gonna have mo'opuna, and they're gonna have descendants who look to them and look to their time and look to the way that they handle situations and they handle struggles. What did they struggle against? What did they allow? What did they not allow? And so our time as a kupuna truly starts now. It doesn't start when I turn 67 years old or when I'm 72 or whatever the kupuna age is. It starts now, because our legacy as a kupuna is going to be our whole life, not just those in our kupuna years. So what are we going to do now so that when we are kupuna, when we do have mo'opuna, when we do have keiki, and they look to us, how are they going to feel? Are they going to feel the same way we feel about our kupuna? Are they going to look at us and be proud because we struggled and we resisted the same way our kupuna did? And so it starts now. We need to set that so that when they struggle in the future, because we know they will, when they face situations like this, because we know they will have the ability to look back to us and our time and say, we need to stand against this because my kupuna did. And so again, mahalo to everybody for the kako'o, for inviting us here to Oahu. Beautiful day, beautiful gathering, beautiful hana, beautiful people. So mahalo nui a opo pakaia pau. Mahalo.
Mahalo ia Kahookahi. What a good hai olelo kanaka. Pai lima no kila. Throughout his whole speech, I've seen the stuff that he was teaching, our keiki. Oh, that's the kind of kumus we need. We need more kumu like that. We need more kanaka who ALOHAAINA, who want to become kumu, just like that. So you can teach it in the schools. We can start from our opio, and we can start to build them up from when they're babies. And when they become makua, they're going to be unstoppable. So mahalo to all of our kumu out there who are doing that work for us. Just a quick announcement. The kitchen will close up by 2:30. So you got another half hour to go grab mea'ai, to load up, to eat. How's the mea'ai, everybody? Pai lima. Send our aloha to the ohana and the kuike to all of his ohana. You know, he get one secret in how he make his food. I could tell him. Sorry, Kuike. Kuike's secret to making good food: aloha. Simple as that. Aloha. He puts in so much aloha into his food, into the making of the imu, into the closing of the imu, to the opening of the imu. You can see it, you can feel it, and then now we can taste it and enjoy it. Aloha. Powerful weapon for us. Pai lima for our kitchen crew, everybody in there. You know, in all of the rush, I forgot to ho'olauna myself. I kala mai o leana kanoa wao ko inoa he mamo wao no ke ia aina o Oahu o ko ohana mai ka moku o Hawaii mai kohala mai pololu mai avini e no wao he haumana kaya puni mai ko uwali ili'i. Just like Kahookahi from Punana Leo. I went Punana Leo all the way through to Waiao, to Anuenue, to Pukakula, and then even getting my bachelor's in Olelo, Hawaii at Manoa. Very blessed to be standing here. I was chosen from Kahiao because I like to talk. But I like to talk ALOHAAINA and not just talk any kind. I stand here as a kako'o of the Kahana Valley and the movement to preserve this beautiful valley for the generations to come. Almost what Kahookahi was saying, what do we think our impact will be for the next generation and generations and generations? We got to get out of that mind frame of what's important now or the next 10 minutes and more into the mind frame of what is important for the next 10,000 years. And how can we impact that? That's the kind of thinking we want to instill in our keiki, that what they do has impact. What kind of impact do we leave? Is it a pono one? We hope so. We talked about aloha and how aloha is a powerful weapon. Our next speaker that we're gonna bring up, I only met him twice, but I seen him on YouTube. He was up there, him and only a couple other brothers, but him stopping at the celebration of the groundbreaking ceremony. And this Kanaka, I seen him, and I seen his kupuna within him and behind him. The way he spoke, the way he stood was cool Kanaka. I'm gonna call up another brother from the Mauna, Brother Lanakila. Eyo.
Aloha mai kako. Kalau mai piha. Maona. Mahalo nui na ohana no ki wahipana o Kahana. Mahalo nui loa. It's an honor to be here. I haven't come this side of the island since I think I was in high school. So it's lovely to be back. I forgot I was talking today, so it's just a couple of things I just wanted to express from the Mauna, for myself, for my ohana. So my name is Lanakila Menguel. I was born and raised in Mauna Kea, pretty much raised down in Waipio, and Mauna Kea is always at my back. Was raised on the slopes of the mountain, hunted the slopes of that mountain, farmed the slopes of that mountain, drink the waters from that mountain. And I grew up hearing the mo'olelo. Guess it's kind of a matter of, for myself, my upbringing, Hawaiian, Filipino, Irish, Scottish. My grandma, my mama, blonde hair, blue eyes. But that's who raised me. My dad wasn't around when I was little, but on mahalo, my mama was the one who, she had two kids from a Hawaiian, and she was damn sure that she was going to make sure that these Hawaiian children that she produced got to know their culture. And so it was my mama who took me to the valley, who got me hooked up with my kumus, and just got me in that, and that's where I am today. And I mahalo for that. And but really the story of for me, why I stand for the Mauna, it begins actually all the way in the opposite. Most of Mauna Kea is actually in the moku of Hamakua, and in Hamakua we also have Waipio, so we get the big hole in the ground, the big pot sticking out of the ground. So I was pretty much raised down in the valley working the lo'i and everything. Uncle Kia Franda was one of my first kumus, and then the Kahakalao Ohana. And I was used to attend these summer camps called Kukulu Kumuhana. And they started down in Waipio Valley. And in about, I think the first one I went to was like 97, 98, 99, 2000, 2001, every year. And it used to be a whole month we would camp out in the valley. And it was real old school back then, the kind you know work, you know eat. Loved it. And it was interesting because I remember this is the first one I went to was also with Entiku Kahakalao, and this is even before the charter schools began. And I remember hearing her talk about this. It was something interesting. I had chok, all of us Kanaka Maoli kids would come down to these camps, and we were excelling, like we were blowing everybody away and what we would do and how we memorize our chants and just being in our our environment, our natural environment. And I remember her quoting her now. She said, why then are we going to bring our kids from a place like this where they thrive and then send them back up into the belly of the beast, send them back to that regular school system? So it was out of these summer camps that they took the next step and they created the Hawaiian Academy, which was a school within a school in Mauna Kea, High School. And it was just for high school. And I remember my sister attended for a number of years. I remember just watching and hearing her come home with all this stuff. And I started to even more. I was like, wow, how come I cannot go to school? I was still elementary. And then intermediate. And then in 2000, they branched out and became Kahookahi, the very first Hawaiian charter school. And I didn't follow. So I only went there from 9th grade is when it opened. So only my high school years was with Kahookahi. But being introduced to the concepts and the culture. The Olelo Hawaii wasn't as pa'a when we first got started. but the depth of culture, the practices, that was I was more a student of ritual. And so it's just interesting how as we're moving forward in this, to consider, we can never forget the ho'ailona and the alignment and the times. Now, I don't know if everybody here is familiarized, but for myself and for many of the guys in the Mauna and people who've been part of the movement, a lot of us, we are products of these Hawaiian education movements, whether it be from the Punana Leo and the language immersion to the charter school movements. A lot of us young ones who are blessed by the hard work and the sacrifice of our makua and kupuna that endured to get that education to us when we was young. Now, the time in the sense of alignments, I'm a student of ritual, so I watch all these kind of ho'ailona. Back in the 90s, do you know what two members of legislation were like heavily responsible for writing into law the Hawaiian Charter School movement? Mike McCartney and David Ige. Lo and behold, now in this time, right? You made us. Now you deal with us. Yeah? But there's things like that that we cannot ignore. Those kind of alignments, those kind of things that just seem to be lining up perfectly. That now, especially in that realm, there's those kind of things happening. I always acknowledge, that this time and movement right now too. We're up in the stars a lot on Mauna Kea. What is the great star alignment that just took place? Anyone caught that one? Venus and, or two planets, but it looked like two. Venus and Jupiter alignment. You know what they call that? The Star of Bethlehem. It only appears in the sky every 2,000 years. So the last time that alignment took place was the birth of Yesu. Was there not great changes from after the last time that star was in the sky? Here's our Huilua. We ready? So we have to acknowledge these kinds of alignments. So right now, the effort is moving. I think we're recognizing that again. Mauna Kea is yes, like we were saying, this is not the only issue, but it is a very much a center, a pico issue. Mauna Kea is the reason, for a lot of us, like we're saying, we're here for many different reasons, but through all of our mo'olelo, the only place, the reason why we have a Hawaiian history, a Hawaiian culture, Hawaiian government or kingdom, is because of this Mauna. Opu'ua e ta Mauna Kea. It was the hiapo, the first one that our kupuna saw that brought them here, so that we could become then Hawaiian. So, for all this stuff to be happening at the Pico, but if you look at the construction of the TMT project and everything, yes, it's not as detrimental directly, but spiritually. It may not be taking up as much land as some other big developments, but it's the spiritual connection. This is the heart of a people. So, I thought everybody, you just watch Avatar. Same thing. The sky people coming for our Mauna. They're coming. And that movie, that's every indigenous person's story right there. So, I'm very proud to be able to come and join you guys today. Just kind of reflecting, was in the Fishpond. I think I remember being told that one of the first Hawaiian constitution was written in Lele'olaina in Lahaina, Maui, based upon the mana'o of the Fishpond. What's the name of that Fishpond again? Yeah, the big one, I forget the name. Mokuhinia. Or that's the island that was in the center there. But it was when they looked out, they realized, that's the whole reason for the Constitution. To pale, to protect the little fish from the big fish. The foundation mana'o. So that these laws were in place to protect the people. So to be here working on the lokoi'a, on the paya, that's really what we're working toward again, to restore these things. The imagery of it is the wall, that is the kanaka. We have to protect the cycles within to allow them to keep going. The makaha, that should be like you could say our government. It acts and it controls what comes in and what comes out and the flow of these things. Yeah, so that way it doesn't mess up the ecosystem within. When the storms come, the wall falls, our kupuna put the wall back up. You know, we didn't make it out of cement because it needs to move with the environment. So when the big water come, you're gonna come down, and then we get back and we put it back up. So a big part of this, what I'm really looking forward and is to remind us, no give up. And sometimes I watch Facebook. Some people get another kind of habut. Oh my God, I don't know if we can keep doing this. It's like, hey, don't forget, they haven't had one day of work on the Mauna. We've only won. So no lose hope. I don't know what some people say complaining about. It's like, what you talking about? We're winning. And if you was ready for die out now, then you wasn't prepared for the long haul. We're talking about gaining back the ability for us to govern ourselves, gaining back the ability to protect our sacred places. That is not even a commitment for a couple months. That is for generations. We need to be able to uphold these things. Because if you that's real American short time span, man. I'm bored already, I'll move on to the next thing. No, finish it. Yeah? So we're gonna go on, and we are not leaving that Mauna, no matter what. And that includes even after we stop TMT, we're not leaving the Mauna. If we want to sit here and point fingers, oh, they're not doing that, they're not doing the job here, they never take care of this, then what do we have lined up? We better have a plan. Don't just point fingers and then don't come back and malama. I hope you guys not just gonna fill the fish pond for one time, next storm come, power. No, you gotta come back, keep building them. Always keep it going. So, I know right now with some updates on the Mauna, that's a big thing that a big project that we're looking at is we have to think beyond this struggle. We're gonna get back our Mauna. And when we get it back, how will we malama? We better have a plan. So I'm working on something. Anyway, I'll let you guys know that. You see where I'm going. But we have to be able to have a plan in place. And that's what I really enjoy about this movement. We're not just telling people, just go, just don't worry about it, just do it. No, go learn, go educate yourself so that when you're going to come stand on the line, you know why you're standing on that line. Another kind, why are you here? Oh, the kind because he brought me. Thank you, but we want to know that you know. Because then if not, then you just, we call sheeple. No be sheeple. Do not just take our word for it. Go learn. Go educate yourself. Learn deeper. Take everything that you think you know and take it to another level. That's what our kupuna taught us. It's not exactly to that we're just going to give you the whole mo'olelo. Kupuna, they like for just drop the seed. It's up for you. It's up to us to grow it. And how we choose to cultivate it. And how far we're going to take it. So, mahalo nui loa. Yeah. Mahalo nui. Oh, okay. Oh yeah. Okay, so ask me. I got share a little bit about Manao and KAPUALOHA. Yeah. So KAPUALOHA, again. So for me, my background of KAPUALOHA, it's not a brand new thing. We never just make them up on the Mauna. I know I kind of said something like that in Oha, but I was lying. We never make them up. I know when I was going to school at Kanu, every time we had any kind of ceremony, Uncle Nale would put us under KAPUALOHA. Which of course when we was little was basically, speak nice, no fighting, no biting, no swearing. But it just kept the consciousness, yeah. But that's become reinforced with the Mauna, just in the idea of, when you're in your sacred place, how you conduct yourself in a sacred place. It's not a mandate. It's not like, it's not a kanawai. It's a kapu. And for me, when I hear kapu, I take that to another level. It's not just an instruction. For me, I always look at kapu as a goal. There's a sacred law to it. It's sacred. So, for me, it's an achievable goal. I always look to that highest level of everything in my mind, what I would love to be, how I would love to be able to just conduct myself, to be living in a world where I'm not always fighting, I'm not always gotta puff up my chest. Yeah. how would I want to live? And I'm gonna strive for that constantly. Yeah? In Kapualoha, I extend my hand to be able to keep communications open with all the different fractions of this situation. I don't know if some of you guys noticed today, but I had some special guests. You saw Kamana Opono, Oha. And call him up. You guys saw Kiko Kauluhiva? Yep. You guys saw David Lassner here. Yep. University. In a little while, Mike McCartney and Henry Yang might be showing up. Why? Because I want them to see the heart of our people. They stuck in the buildings. They're not seeing this. But by keeping that aloha, I know I'm talking to humans first. I hate politics and I don't like politicians, so I don't talk to them. I will talk to Uncle Mike. I like talk to, Chief of Staff, whatever. But keeping that open, that human communication always keeps the ability to address one with that respect, no matter what. It's one of the hardest things ever for look into the face of an adversary and tell them aloha and actually mean it. It takes another level of strength. Yeah. So I explain it, I guess a good example, you gotta makabalu it, but how I explain it with my kiki and a lot of my students. What is easier to do? When someone get in your face or insult you or do something that like, what is easier to do? Crack them? Swing! Pa! Hold yourself, compose yourself, maybe address something in a respectful manner, or just walk away from it. Which one's easier to do? Pa! That's easy. You watch the babies do that all the time. So therefore, a stronger person will take what path? We gotta stop being reactionary. And we gotta think first. Pele stories teach us that a lot. They act just, and then you go, oh, sorry. So, always gotta, for me, in the revival and the rebirth of a kingdom or a government or a nation, for me, I look at that with a very, very, what's the word? I forget the word. I don't know the word. But I'm not just going to jump into anything. I'm only going to jump into something that I think is pono for the future. So if we think that our only way is to fight, or fight, that kind of ano, I don't like to be part of that. I don't want to be part of another nation born from bloodshed or war. No. We can rise up in a better way. We can be that example that the world needs to see. You guys ever had the kupuna come tell you, one day the world will look to Hawaii to learn and understand what is aloha? I've always heard Hawaii is a microcosm of the whole planet. Hawaii is the piko. Mauna Kea is the piko of the world. So we are poised right now in this situation, to make the best out of it. To be able to rise up in a pono way to be a model for the rest of the world. But it takes every single one of us stepping out of our comfort zone. If you want to stay where you're comfortable, well, that's just the American way now, isn't it? The pursuit of happiness, no matter who you need to step on. I wouldn't want to be part of that. And I don't see that being a proper future for our people either. So for each and every single one of us, it's about looking deeper and really questioning, what are you doing? What is every single one of us doing in our daily lives that either make us Hawaiian or Ha'ole? I'm going to close with this one, the concept of kapualoha. I was always one, I taught my kids when they were young because I was sick of hearing the word being used all the time and seeing some really pono kids just because they get fair skin, they felt eha when they heard that word. So I used to, in my thinking of when I hear that word haole, you can be 100% Koko Hawaii, dark skin, I can still call you haole. Why? Because it's about how you live. If you live in a way that you are taking away from the life cycle, that you are not feeding, that you are not giving life to the world around you, that is haole. No breath. It's one of the mana'o, yeah? But this is the one I stand by. I don't care how much Koko Hawaii you. It's how you live is determines if you are really a child of this Aina or not. And when I say Aina, I'm talking about the world. You either lost, you disconnected, and you're just taking life. And I got that mana'o from some of the uncles down Puna side. They say hau ole. And his mana'o was hau ole to seize until there's nothing. Can you be Koko Hawaii? You know, brown skin and do that? Yeah. I see a lot of it all the time. A lot of times we're fighting for clean up our beaches, all kind of stuff. It's not the tourists walking around dumping trash all over the place. Most of the time we know that's local people. And we gotta all check ourselves. That's not me, right? That's not my ohana, right? So always make sure for me, when every time I see someone exterior doing something I don't like, first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna check myself first. And make sure I'm not doing that. Then I have grounds to speak, to address, and to make better. Yeah? To that. So I think for me, this whole movement too is about lifting us to a higher level of consciousness. Yeah? No, just go along with the flow because I got the ALOHAAINA t-shirt. We better dig down deeper. If we want to rebirth a nation, that has to come up on a nation of high conscious, deep thinking people. So, wait, the last closing remark, I forget them again. I just want, okay, this is my real closing, sorry. Sacred. Context of sacred. We all get different mana'o. And it's weird, I know it's strange for a lot of us that sometimes, especially with stuff like this, we have to explain. They like us explain why it's sacred. You know, for a lot of us, we grew up, yeah, you know, we don't question, we just know, yeah? When Auntie said, no go over there, no, that's a sacred place. We're not going to ask, how come it's sacred? What makes it sacred? Yeah? You just, you know, just shut your mouth and you just listen. Yeah? But in this day and age, sometimes we, in our steps and what we want to do, it's about education, and sometimes we have to now explain. But I always tell everybody this, no matter what you was taught, you question yourself. Not in the sense of trying to always be disrespectful or to challenge it, but you question it so that you can find a deeper understanding as to why. So Mauna Kea. For me, there is no separation. Now, some people, again, we coming for this reason, whether it's governmental, environmental, cultural, spiritual. People get all their different reasons. For me, there is no difference. They are all threaded the same. Why is a place sacred? Because it gives life. That's why it's sacred. Mauna Kea is the piko. So there's a spiritual energy that we know, that we draw about that. But that is that Mauna that gives us all the multiple different climate zones. That it's able to produce these different types of life to give us a unique ecosystem. It is because of this Mauna that the clouds don't just pass over us. And it's condensed on the summit and we gather this water. It's because of this high-reaching Mauna that we are able to see so many different forms of the water. Whether it be waiyau, lilinoi, kaupokani, poliahu, lihau, the frost, the mist, the ice, all that. It's because of this Mauna that we get all of that. It's because of the Mauna that all the minerals then over thousands and millions of years will trickle down and continuously feed this land. That is why it is sacred. It's because of its environmental value. Because it gives life. Same understanding. Why is this loko ia, this fish pond, why is this method so great at how it works? Because it's just basically lost my word. It's basically protecting the natural ecosystem that already happens. Yeah? There is no separation. You want to know the science behind this? The science behind this is the sacredness. So sometimes in this day and age, we're questioned about our spirituality. We don't need to separate it, but understand that a lot of times even the science will explain to us so we can have a deeper meaning or a deeper understanding as to why something is sacred. And the greatest foundation of why something is sacred is because it gives life. That's why many of these things are akua. And I want us to expand our mind in the concept of that. We talk akua, you know, akua. You know what the word akua is? In the Western language, they just had the closest thing they could find. They said God. That's just the closest thing they could find in the English language that matches it. But it goes deeper. So I makabalu that word. And I look at the idea that ahakua, of the back, of the spine. That's behind you. That which supports you. That which gives us the ability to stand straight up, to be alive. All those things that give us that ability is an akua. That's why our kumulipo go all the way back to Po, our oldest ancestor. That's akua. All the la'au, the mauna, the kai, that's all akua. Why? Because just them being in their natural state gives us life, gives us the foundation. So that concept, can we be akua? In the thought process of our kupuna, live as an akua. We live in a way that when we live, we are giving back into the cycle of life. That is being akua. And if you do it well enough, where we become a master of the process of living and giving life in the same process, then maybe if you're lucky, your children, when you uhala, they will deify you. And your name will live forever. To remind the people of how to interact with the environment, so that the akua process, the process of giving life, continues generation after generation after generation. So maybe it's a new t-shirt. Live as a god. Live as a god. Live as that model. That's our goal. So we can, with doing this kind of stuff, we pili with our pohaku, and how we gather from a place, we actually are contributing to the life of the place. That's that higher state of being that we need to get back to, and where I feel this movement is really leading us, is back to understanding that our kupuna had it. A lot of our answers is not in this future run, but by looking backwards and seeing at those times when everything was pono. It's like, duh, it was already there. Why are we trying to rethink the wheel? A lot of the answers are there. So, mahalo nui everybody. Dig deeper. Take everything deeper for yourself. Oh, what that? Oh. Yeah. Well, sorry, one more thing. Okay, now this is just okay. So a little bit of tactic action. Okay, a little bit. So something that's happening on the Mauna right now. You guys all know about the rule changes. So, kind of an update. They got a whole bunch of people are filing suit against the state for that. I just testified at OHA the other day, and I kind of pressured. I asked for that too. OHA has decided, yes, they will also file suit against the state on these rules. I said, wow, really, OHA? We get to clap for you now. Give us something to clap about. But so that is going forward. Right now, we have actually members of LHG, the Lawful Hawaiian Government. They've stepped up to help protect the efforts to protect the Mauna, and they're willing to go toe to toe with the government, with the state government, if they try to remove our camps, our stands on our vigil on the Mauna. And so a big thing that we're doing right now too is we're looking to the future of how we can continue this stance for a longer period of time. We're playing with some ideas of some stuff. One thing, basically at the bottom of the Mauna Kea access, the big stretch of that land there is all Hawaiian homes. All bottom skirt of the Mauna is Hawaiian homes. So even the road from the first cattle guard up to the second cattle guard is all Hawaiian homes. So what we're doing right now is we're wondering, throwing different ideas of how we could possibly get Hawaiian homes to assist us in protecting the Mauna. One thing that we were informed was that the Department of Hawaiian Homes has actually taken a stance. The stance that they've actually taken a neutral stance when it comes to the situation. And as we were told, well, the mana'o in there is that the board believes it is not the majority of native Hawaiians who support the Mauna, but only a small rebel group. So, what we've been doing for the past week now is we're trying to get word out to the different Hawaiian homes communities or the different homesteads to be able to collect signatures of support. Basically, so we've written up a little petition. All it is marking that they support. Just so for any beneficiaries of Hawaiian homes on any island, just to be able to show them whenever we come up with an idea of how we're going to ask them to kako, or maybe can we set up camp on down below Hawaiian homes, you know, that we can show them, see our people back this. So Nehana's got some here, so if anyone here is a beneficiary of Hawaiian Homes, basically means, what is the benefit? I think it's the 50% thing, and if you're on the list or if you live on Hawaiian Homes, that's what makes you a beneficiary, I guess. So we have some here if you guys want to come and sign, just to show support. And also for anybody who lives in a homestead, for me it was actually a little more appropriate, I feel, for people of that place to communicate that to your place, instead of us coming from outside trying to pick up support. We can definitely kako if need be, but if anybody would be willing to take one of the forms with you back to your homestead and be able to collect signatures and such, that'd be a great mahalo, a great thanks for that. Manalo. Okay, everybody coming up. Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of different tactics right now. We kind of got them with their hands tied behind their back. I think they're kind of scared to do something because they're getting slapped 5 times. I think there's 5 lawsuits being filed against them already for the rules. Right on. The other situation right now, LHG's kind of got them stuck on the Mauna. You know, they can't, like, how do we arrest these guys? We go see. Right on. We go see what happens. The other thing is that again, the plan is in motion right now. We're trying to create new entity to be able to take on, to take over the lease of the Mauna. That's a key thing. Okay, I just got to tell everybody. I tell everybody anyway. So the big thing that we're looking at, again, in that idea of looking to the future, if we need to have a plan then. Okay, we know university, the bad stewards. Okay, naughty. Okay, get rid of them. Then what? Yeah. So we're working right now on a plan to be able to create a new entity, to be able to become the new stewards of the Mauna. Yeah. And with that, a really important thing is what this will be able to do. I can't remember everything. We're just trying to scare away the money. Scare away their money. You know? What they call them? People who give them money. Get 5 countries, yeah, I'll invest in. One investor get cold feet. They out. So if they see all of us in movements like this, that we're willing to get together, we're willing to start to do stuff, we're willing to be up there and start to steward our Mauna, I think we might have a better chance if we to be able to hooky that lease away, to show that we have a more pono plan for this Mauna. So that's some of the things, some of the updates. And yeah, if you guys have any more questions, I'm hanging out over here today. Other than that, mahalo nui loa. Let's continue this kind of lahana. Mahalo nui. Aloha.
I'd like to kahea any keiki or anybody who knows kuha'aheo, or the keiki especially, to come up here to stand with Lanakila and Kahookahi, as we're going to do our kuha'aheo live right here, Kumuhina song. Mai. Before we do the mele, some of the manao, again gathering, I wanted to share this olela no eau. An olela no eau from Anakala Eddie Kahana, who was a big time kumu and kupuna for a lot of us that have helped put this on here today. And his olela no eau was Kali'u ka pa'akai. Can we all say that? Kali'u ka pa'akai. That everything we needed was salted. Like the salt fish, it was preserved. The ike kupuna, the lo'i, the loko ia, the olelo, they're salted and preserved for us. If we want it, if we want to eat it, all we gotta do is rinse it off, wash off all the salt, and it's ready to eat. That was his mana'o to us as young students, as young kanaka ALOHAAINA. Kali'u ka pa'akai. Everything we need, kanaka, is right here. We don't need to look elsewhere. And I was thinking like Avatar, he was talking Avatar, I was like, not some Holly gonna come in and rescue us. Gonna be us for doom. Gonna be us for rise up. And malama, that tree of life, our Mauna, that gives life to the entire moku of Hawaii and to the entire Pai'aina by setting the tone for all of the easterly winds and trades that come true. Everything we need is right here. So I wanna bring up our keiki, who are right here, who are a little salty right from the beach. And they're going to share a mele, and they're going to kuha'aheo with some of their kumu and their alakai that they see. And if anybody who knows it, Even if you don't know all the words, you can kuha'aheo as well. You can stand up. Might be a nice change up from sitting. Look comfortable out there. We go all ku kanaka and ku iluna kako. If you have Kiki that know the song, come. And we'll come do them right here.
Yep.
Go.
Makoko. Oya. Kai ko kamoana kai lana ni Hawaii. Na wewe halulu kahonua haumea. Na kulu e kalani kie kaumailuna aweke aloha ole akamalihini haheo eku Hawaii makakaua kuaina oke ehu kakahiaka ona oivi o Hawaii nei no kula hui e hawi paua e olama au he avale au kou pualikoa o ke ave me ko kamahalala valula me kapu hihewa alumai me ko mano kalani po kai mai ana mena kama kahelelani kuhaheo eku Hawaii makakaua kuaina oke ehu kakahiaka ona oivi o Hawaii nei no kula hui e hawi paua e olama e na wei mua e na poki a e inu vai ava e vivo ole a hoku pa o he hope hoi mai ai ana i vale no kakou ko e mau i ke ala au e ke aloha ole a kamalihini kuhaheo eku Hawaii makakaua kapuaina oke ehu kakahiaka ona oivi o Hawaii nei no kula hui e nei no kula hui e hawi pau ai ola mau no kula hui e hawi pau ai ola mau.
Hey, mahalo. That's not the end now. We have another band coming up. Mahalo to the Kiki. Pai limo for all the Kahookahi. Everybody over here who's gonna kuha here for our lahui. Up next, we have a band. I remember them playing last when we had the impromptu call up to the Iolani Palace. We had the rally at the palace. Our next group that is coming up is the Vitals. They're gonna get ready. Please nanea, please enjoy. Don't ha'alele, get the last of the food that you can. I encourage you guys to aloha aku talk story with each other and get ready.